Howdy, y'all. Welcome to CardBlitz. This is episode 38. I'm your host, Kelly Reed, joined by my good friend, Patrick Marshall, fellow co-host. Patrick,
How's it
how's
going,
it
guys?
going, man?
Yeah, good, Kelly. How are you today?
Good, good. It's a football Sunday. I don't know if you caught many of the college games yesterday, but man, there were lots of shocking upsets that took place, huh?
I'm most surprised by Alabama. I thought people had kind of written them off, and they came out and just dominated Georgia. I was like, wow, I didn't expect that.
Oh,
So,
that and then the Florida State experience on
yep,
Thursday night, or was that Friday night football with them in Virginia?
yeah, Virginia coming back and winning in I guess overtime. So,
Yeah, and
um,
then what was it? The battle. It was a good game. The Penn State Oregon game. I don't know if you caught that one, but that one
yeah,
went to overtime as well.
I was keeping tabs on it. It just go. I mean, I think something like Penn State against top five teams is something like 4-18 or something like that. They just cannot get over the
Yeah,
hump.
not a good record for Penn State and the Nittany Lions there.
Yeah, Oregon apparently just came out blazing. So even though Penn State did make a comeback at the end, I didn't see the end of it, but it was, they just got behind too quickly from what I read.
It was low scoring. I was flipping between that and the Alabama Georgia game, and it was just commercial breaks, flipping, and so yeah, the Penn State Oregon game was pretty tight all the way through. Then the Alabama game, they got out to a huge lead on Georgia. Georgia clawed their way back into it, but just didn't have enough to finish at the end.
Yeah, and even that Colorado BYU game was pretty good. I mean, Colorado had a chance to take that, but BYU came back. So
A little Big 12 action, man. And then
yeah,
today, man, it's the last day of the baseball season, and
yep,
you still got two teams battling for that last spot.
yeah. My Astros won last night, so I was excited to see that, or won yesterday.
Yeah,
So
the Astros won. Unfortunately, they were eliminated as of yesterday.
yeah, because the Tigers won 2-1, and I was like, God, come on.
Then the Texas Rangers somehow, some way, gave up the victory by hitting the batsman, with ended up haunting the Astros because the Guardians won and then the Astros are eliminated.
Yeah, I was not aware of
Hit
all
by
the
pitch, man.
detail
It was crazy.
until I went to bed. I go, oh man, I was excited they won. That I go, oh, I'm not really feeling too good now. It's like,
First
actually,
time since what was it, like 2016 or 2015, I think, that the Astros they're out of it, man, in the playoffs.
yeah, it's
Been
been
a
a while.
while. Hmm.
So it's been a long time. Changing of the guard is always understandable. Jose Altuve can't play till he's 58, so we understand.
Yeah, no, season marred by injuries for the Astros,
Yeah,
and you don't want to see that. You want to see each team putting out the best product they can and have their best players performing. So
that's right.
injuries just kind of hurt the team.
Yeah, and then, hopefully the Rangers can rebound as well. Figure that out because I thought they had a pretty good team coming in the stretch, and I thought they would do something, but you know
The Texas Rangers and
they had some
their
injuries too.
bats were
Yeah,
horrible, man, and
yeah,
it caught up with them in the end too. Just a lot of those low scoring games in April and May, they could have won if their bats were just hitting, but
yeah. So I
nope,
thought the pitching played better. Their pitching was better. So
much better.
yeah,
And then the question will be, whether or not Bruce, the manager, will come back or not.
yeah. Oh, we'll see.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Well,
baseball, that's exciting. But this is a time of football as well.
and
So
let's talk football, man. Let's talk about Yoda, the man who could catch everything.
yep.
He turned 71 today, doesn't he?
That's right. So today's birthday boy is none other than Steve Largent, born on September 28th, 1954. Like you mentioned, 71 years old. Played his whole career with the Seattle Seahawks and he's pretty much regarded as one of the best route runners ever of all time, and just made amazing catches. I mean, I remember watching him watching football, going, "Who is this guy? He's like my size. I mean, this is the size I'm going to be one day, and this guy's perfect. If he can do it, I can do it." I
For
think
the
he
pride
was,
of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
yeah, I think he was instrumental, and I mean, he was a really good player. And here's something that's kind of a fact. He was drafted by the Oilers first in 1976, but apparently only made the practice squad. But can you imagine if he would have made the squad and then they drafted Earl Campbell a couple years later?
Man,
Woo! That would be exciting.
that would have
But,
been they could have rewritten some books in history, couldn't they?
yeah, I mean, you never know. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it's just happenstance. Those things happen, and he goes on, but maybe he wouldn't have been a Hall of Famer like he was. That situation in Seattle, I think, was perfect for him with his good buddy Jim Zorn throwing the ball to him.
Oh,
So,
definitely, man. I found a card of his, and it's
yeah.
my favorite set. It's this 1978
Oh
Topps
yeah.
football card.
I love that one too. I got
Yeah,
that
it's,
one.
it's just a great card, great look.
Yeah, that's yeah. I've got 82 tops, Steve Largent. And you know
Nice.
what's cool about this? We've talked this about this a lot on the shows, Kelly, is some of the stuff that's on the back of these old cards that you actually read.
Hmm.
Steve Largent at this time was the only player in the NFL ever with two 1,200-yard seasons in 1982. Now,
That's
obviously,
like,
that's a small snapshot compared to the throwing era that we're in now. You know, Air Coryell and everything, how it exploded. But I thought that was pretty amazing. That's a lot of yardage. So
well, I read that when he retired, he like held all the main NFL records for receiving. I
yeah,
mean,
he had
broke it up, a few years later by Jerry Rice, but still, to leave at the top of your game and have all those records and be like, I'm out.
it was 819 reception because I remember when Jerry Rice broke that, it was big news. It was on TV.
Hmm.
Um, Over 13,000 yards and like 100 receiving TDs. I mean, that's a great career for someone who's 5'11, 180, 180, 190. I mean, it's pretty
Good
impressive.
routes and good hands,
Yeah. Yeah.
and fortunately we get to collect his cards and talk about him here on Card Blitz. And did you know what he did after his NFL career?
Yeah. He went into the House of Representatives.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
he served, and
Representing the people.
I didn't realize he served 4 terms. That's
Hmm.
amazing. That's pretty impressive. So that's a whole career after football.
Yeah, another
So,
8 years in public office, and then I heard that he's a pretty prolific, through the mail signer too. So if you want to,
oh, that's cool. That's
yeah,
great.
I think you have to donate to like a cause or something like that for him. But he'll sign for you, I heard.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, I mean, he sounds like just a really good guy as well. So yeah, I'd chase that autograph. I think that'd be great to add to the PC.
Well,
So
Yoda, if you ever want to come and talk cards on Card Blitz,
yeah,
Patrick and I, we're all about this. So Yoda, return the call, man. Let's do this.
absolutely. Happy birthday.
Hey, yes, and certainly happy birthday. Do you have any like show and tell cards you want to get into?
I was going to show you this one, and we kind of talked about this, but I went through my collection last weekend, and I found this 1997 Bowman Kerry Wood rookie. I did not realize this is a blue ink autograph. I don't know if you guys can see that really well,
Yeah, yeah, dude,
but
that
it
is a
is
beautiful card with the
it is cool. It was great. I mean, I used to like Kerry Wood when he first came out. I was like, okay, this guy, you know, from Spring, Texas, just south of me, growing up in the Woodlands in Houston. I mean, he was everything. So it's pretty cool that um, I found that card. I like it.
that game where he got 20 strikeouts, and
Yeah,
I mean the Cubs were looking for like that ace and that savior for their franchise, and he delivered. I mean he took them so close so many times, just
yeah,
not meant to be, man. But yeah,
yeah,
no, Kerry Wood, he's a legend, man.
yeah. So I don't know what his career stats ended up being, but obviously injuries marred that superb arm of
Yeah,
his.
shortened his career
Yeah.
definitely.
So what about you? Did you have what
Yeah,
you got?
I
Show and
got I
tell.
got I got three cards that
Oh,
I've
great.
acquired recently. First and foremost, I'm gonna break out this one of OJ
Ooh,
and Sweetness here.
that is sweet.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, man. And the reason why this card means a lot to me, I just got it recently. It completes my 1977 Topps football set.
Oh, congrats. Good job.
So another one in the books, y'all. That one makes me pretty happy. And along with it, from the same seller, uh, I'm working on my 76 Topps football set, and I got this card here of George Blanda.
Oh, the legendary George Blanda.
Dude, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but at the time in the 1975 season, he was like the first player to ever score like 2,000 points.
Oh, wow. Okay. I know
So,
that he had quite the prolific career just from longevity. I
dude, he
mean,
was
he
at the 48 at the
he
age of
did everything.
48,
Yeah.
man.
I mean, you thought Morton Anderson was kicking late in his life. George Blanda did everything.
Dude, it says like he was drafted in 1949 by Chicago. Like, I
Uh,
mean, That's like 3 decades before like some of the young bucks were coming up back then.
If I'm not mistaken, I
Amazing.
mean, didn't he played QB as well, right? Did he play
Yeah,
some
yeah,
QB
yeah.
and he came up as kind of an all state or all conference just
He was a
offensive
utility
player.
guy, truly a utility guy.
Yeah, he could do everything.
Paving the way for Doug Flutie, right?
That's right.
And then the last card, I don't think I showed this previously, but maybe I did this 1998 Nolan Ryan card.
No, I don't think we've seen that. That's a 98 tops. Okay, I
Yeah.
don't have that. That's
And I found it in the dollar box, but it has like I love it because it has all the stats and then it shows all the uniforms, with Rangers on the front, but then yeah, you got his Mets, his Angels and Astros
nice.
forms too. So yeah, I love having like all the stats on the card. To me, it's
Yeah.
like easy reference, and you can just look up things. And as mentioned, I've been to Alvin, Texas before, and I saw the big old sign off the
Yep.
side of the highway there. And so yeah,
Yeah.
Big Tex. I mean, it's a special card. And back in our Beckett days, we went to that luncheon, and I got to meet Nolan
Yeah.
Ryan and take a photo with him, and it was
Yeah.
cool. That luncheon was awesome.
I mean, when you look at that card, so that picture, obviously you assume it's from that season or the season before. But look, so he's 18 years in his career, right?
Well, he came up in
Approximately
'68.
68, that's a 67, 60, like when he's
The 60 is
pitching.
the rookie card, but yeah,
Yeah.
it came up in '67. Like
But
you said.
look at that, that flexibility. And dude, he's not exactly a young buck there, but dude, he's gonna mow you down. That's probably the top of the ninth right there. And he's still pitching. It's amazing.
He's like, yes, career shutout. Here we go, man.
It's his 128th pitch of the game. You could just get away with that back then. Not now. I mean, well, that was rare then. So
That's hilarious, man.
yeah,
Well, let's get into this topic, man. Talking about like card shops and the impact in your collecting journey, and wanted to kind of get your thoughts. Like, were you a big card shop kid growing up, or
yeah,
like as you became an adult?
yeah. So let me tell you. So when we discussed talking about this, it brought back a lot of memories, and all very good memories. When I first started collecting anything, I collected stamps, and I was very much into stamps. And the one shop that we had was located in 1960 area of Houston, which is North Houston. And the Woodlands, where I grew up, was just a fledgling little city at that point. And so there wasn't very many things there. There wasn't a stamp shop. And as my stamp collecting kind of turned into trading cards, sports collectibles became huge for me. And obviously that's where I am now. Not
Mhm.
so much on the stamps, but we used to have to drive like 30, 40 minutes to go to a local card shop, to go look at the new things that were coming out, the new sets. And that was kind of the way that it was back then. I remember
So was this
saving
like
money.
mid '80s?
Yeah, yeah, mid 80s, 85, 86. I remember saving money. And then my dad going, okay, you ready? I had to talk him into, or my mom, like, okay, can we go on Saturday? Can we go? And he would drop me and one of my friends off at the local card shop. We would spend like an hour and a half, 2 hours there. The owner knew us and he didn't care. We just went through everything. We looked through everything. We wanted to find out what the latest sets were, who was going to be do you have a Dwight Gooden rookie? Oh, I do. Where is it? Ooh, look at that one. Ooh, the Fleer is hard to get. That looks nice. And you would just go through. You'd have $20 and it'd be the best $20 hour you've ever spent in your life. I mean, it was great. And you would just go through and we'd try to collect sets and try to finish sets as well and look at the old cards. And what I really appreciated about it was the owner of the shop would educate the kids like myself and other kids that would come in on who some of the older players were. He goes, oh, if you like that player, you should have seen this player. Like, you like Dwight Gooden. You should let me introduce you to who Bob
Bob
Gibson is.
Gibson,
Yeah. Or
exactly.
Ferguson Jenkins. Let me show you some of these guys. And we were like, it was educational. And I have just fond memories of it. There was one shop located in 1960 in Kirkendall, north of Houston. And, I don't know if that guy's still out there. I mean, I can't remember his name right now, but it's like, I think it was Houston Sports Collectibles, something like that. So um, it was good. I had
So,
a
so
great
in your
time.
youth, you would go to this card shop, and then
Yeah.
like high school years, college years, were you still frequent, making those trips to the card shops, or were you just
I,
mainly trading with buddies, or?
yeah, I kind of transition to go into shows more. And we still went to shows when I was younger, but they were just got expensive. You're 14 years old. You don't exactly have $100 and $20 to spend on a guy to sign something for you. doesn't leave much left. Um, but would go in every now and then to local card shop. And then I know you and I, Kelly, over the years have gone into the one in Dallas after we'd have lunch when we worked at Beckett, the Beckett days, and pop in,
Hmm.
buy a couple packs just
Yeah,
because,
Nick's sports cards.
yeah, because we were kind of out of the, I was kind of out of the loop at that time. So I think the local card shop's important because it brings you up to speed quickly. You want to get back into things or take a look back at what you have. I think that's pretty valuable.
Yeah, I was
So,
going to say for me, growing
yeah.
up, it wasn't until I was in college. Like all through my youth, I was just the convenience store or grocery store buying the wax packs or the cello packs, maybe at a, grocery store, convenience store, maybe even at like a Kmart back then.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how I did my collecting journey. And then from there, like trading cards with friends. But for me, I was shocked. I was like, wait, what? There's a store and
Yeah.
they sell cards?
Can I do this as well?
Man, I was in awe,
Yeah.
and so like down in Austin, there was the shop there that was close to the apartment that I lived in while in college. They had comic books and cards, and that was like early '90s, and so dude, you go in there for and just like you said, you're browsing and you're trying to learn, and you can see all the wax pack offerings that they would get. As manufacturers were kind of like publishing or manufacturing different brands and different types of sets back then.
Yeah.
And so yeah, just they had the new stuff. They didn't have the old cards, and they didn't have like much inventory for completing sets. It wasn't until I moved back to Dallas that I went to like first base in East Dallas off of
Yep.
635, and that's where, yeah, like my mind was blown. Like, what? I can complete these 70 sets, 80 sets from when
Yeah.
I was a kid. I was like enamored, and like you said, you could spend hours in there just window shopping pretty much.
And here was another. I'm going to take you down a little timeline here and a little history of in Houston. So, any Astros fans out there, you'll love this. Any non, just bear with me. But we had all the local players would come to this local card show, local card shop. Bill Doran, I got his autograph in person. I mean, they would do signings on a Saturday, like for like $5. Kevin Bass. I mean, this is all about 86, 85, 86, 87. There's another Kevin Bass, pretty cool. But you can see the cards I had that were more recent at the time, 84 tops. And then Terry Poole, who was a longtime Astros player. He played the Astros with Jose Cruz back in the early days of, late 70s, early 80s of the Astrodome days. And that was big, just local celebrities. And then you get young guys like this, Glenn Davis, who just came up and his rookie card. And he was, kind of the future of the Astros at that time. So it was pretty neat. He got a big collection of, Jose Cruz, I'm sure was there. I did not get a chance to see him that time, but picking up all these autographs and meeting the players, and you could spend time talking to them for like 30 minutes. It was pretty neat. So the local card shop had a lot of that for me as well.
So,
Yeah.
so your experience with the local card shop was that it educated you. You had the ability to finish up sets or to go complete like team sets.
Yeah. Or like
What
player runs. I do player runs a lot, which is
player
fun.
runs?
And yeah.
What
Yeah.
about like the fellowship or the camaraderie of like other collectors? When you were a kid, were you talking to other kids about collecting, or was it just like you and like your best friend going, or
Yeah,
what?
usually it's me and my really good friend, but you would meet somebody in there, and they would be within the same age range, and you had a common you had a common love for baseball or football or basketball and collectibles, so you
Mhm.
could talk to anybody right away, and I don't think that's ever changed. It's the same thing when you go to like if I go to a card show now and I'm talking to somebody, we're looking at a card, and it's like, oh yeah, how many times have you heard the guy remember that card? Oh yeah, I remember that one. I've got that one, and
Yeah.
instant conversation comes up. But I think it was kind of the owner of the shop, and I think his son worked there as well. So getting some knowledge from them that have been in the industry was pretty important. I'm sure there's a few things I took away from there that that I learned along the way that I haven't put to use because I'm not an owner of a card shop. But I learned a lot about different cards and even how to organize cards and things like that because you just have them on a giant shoebox. At some point
Right.
and getting all the materials, like finding materials like boxes and sleeves and the 9 pocket sleeves. I mean, that wasn't easy back then. You had to go to a card shop to get that stuff.
Hmm.
So
Interesting. What other areas do you think that card shops like impacted your journey, your collecting journey in this process?
I think it gave me a love of autographs. Like I've got all those autographs, and I grabbed my local Beckett price guide around that time, and I started sending cards off to all the players. And a lot of the players I learned about maybe from the local card shop or from just looking up things, on the, looking up stories and hearing things from other collectors. And my buddies' dads and like parents, and said, "Oh, you should send it to this guy. He was a great hitter." I'm like, "Okay, Dave Parker, never heard of him, but okay, I know who he is."
Cover kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But
Well,
things like that. I mean, I think just the information you can gather from just going spending some time at a local card shop, I think that's important.
you mentioned the Beckett magazine.
Yeah,
Like you're right, because in the pre-internet days, that was essentially that maybe tough stuff, maybe a sports collector digest. I think maybe they
Sports
had some
Collector
pricing.
Digest. Yeah,
Like that was it. Like otherwise, where would you get your knowledge of pricing or completing sets and numbers and the missing players and their names? Like you had to get it from these publications or those card shop owners.
yeah, and I think it tied in a lot, obviously, with watching TV as well. Like I have a lot of Cubs autographs just because WGN would play all the time in Houston. And so you have Leon the Bull Durham and Ron Say and some of these guys, and you go, okay, that's pretty cool. I want to get that guy's autograph. Mark Grace, he was pretty hot at the time. You try to chase him like in the late '80s. So, but my buddy Steve and I would buy the autograph book from Beckett, and we would split it, and we'd go through it. One of us would have it for like a week, then would switch off, and another person would have it for a week, and then would have a Friday mail day where the autographs would come in on Fridays usually if you sent them off at the beginning of the week. Which is, I don't know how that worked all the time, but if somebody was collecting or one of the players was signing, they would turn over things pretty quick, and you'd get it within a week or two. And it
Dude, that's
always seemed to come
awesome.
on
And then y'all would
Friday.
just have a mail day and y'all are just comparing autographs
Yeah,
and
it always come like on a Friday. You'd be like, "Oh, I got a card. Who'd you get? Oh, I got Corey Snyder. Wow, man, that's pretty cool. Did your Dale Murphy come in? Not yet. He may take a little while just because he's an all-star."
yeah,
So it was
that's
pretty neat, though.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to mention was, did y'all have like trade nights or trade afternoons? Was that big at your card shop back in the day?
No, no, I don't remember those. Not like to the extent that I've seen at card shows now, and what you've mentioned to me on some of the
Yeah.
local card shops, and
I
um,
mean, I haven't gone to any yet.
that
So
yeah, that forum of community, I don't think was there when I remember just coming in from the outside, and collectibles was not as mainstream as it is now. Obviously, if you're a father of a young child, you go into the store, they're going to be blown away. There's so much to look at.
hmm
And chances are your child will know 50% more than you do about about new things. He'll know a lot of stuff. But
Do you think back then, like now it's kind of like almost embraced like, hey, let's have a trade night, let's have fellowship, let's have community. Do you think back then card shop owners might have looked at it as a conflict to their business interests? Like, hey, we want you bringing in your cards to sell them to us so that we could turn
that's
over
a
the
good question.
inventory.
I think the smart ones would say, no, no, let's feed this. Let's make this open. Let's see. Let's get different people involved, and maybe they have collectibles that someone doesn't know about, or maybe they don't know about, and
hmm
maybe that helps feed something. Like I would hope that it would be embraced and not so much shut down because someone's trying to make the money and they don't want other people getting involved in the
hmm
business side of it. But I don't think a lot of people flipped cards like they do now. Obviously, back then, I think they were
Right.
talking about true collectors. So
So yeah, the idea of trading and trying to move up and stuff like that wasn't around back then. It was probably just collect your sets or like you said, player runs. That was your thing or
yeah,
team sets.
yeah. I used to do like Willie McCovey was an older player that I've got introduced to from my friend's dad, and I just started reading some books on him and stuff like that, and some articles at the library. I was like, wow, this guy is pretty amazing. And I just started doing a collectible run, out of nowhere, Willie McCovey, and then I did the same with Rod Carew. just guys that were like, they stood out. Something about them stood out at the time. So
Yeah.
I wish I would have done Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle, but I didn't know really who those guys were. I mean, I knew who they were,
Yeah,
but
you knew of them, and there were like documentaries and stuff like
yeah.
that, after school stuff or Saturday afternoon shows that would highlight, the greats of the game.
Well,
I
I always thought
remember that
Hank
growing
Aaron.
up.
Yeah, Hank Aaron was unique. That was my next thing, and I may still do that now, even as an adult. Not even a kid anymore. Just go. Hank Aaron was quite the man. So
Hmm.
I'll start my Hank Aaron run officially on this episode, guys. Okay.
All right, well, let us know how that goes,
We'll
because
save the show and tell as we go.
that'll be quite the journey for you.
Yeah.
So overall, you would say it's a positive experience, the
Oh
local
yes.
card shop and influence.
Yeah. I'm glad the brick and mortar of a local card shop still exists. Let's put it that way. I mean, the internet's great. It's got some positives as well. You can meet a lot of different collectors, social forums like I meant. You can do that online, but you could also find cards that you need without checking back with your local card shop every month for like 6 months and driving the owner crazy, which I probably did. So
Right.
because the big card shows would only come Houston, TriStar Collectibles, I think back in the day was huge in Houston. So they would have a 3-day show at George R. Brown Convention Center, but that was once a year. And that's the big one. And that's, where Ernie Banks would come and, guys like that. But now you can get card shows more often, I think. Here in Charlotte, I think there's 3 or 4 this year that, I mean, the big one's coming up in October. But if you want to, you reach out, I think you reach out through the internet to collectors and dealers and ask them if they have these cards that you're looking to complete a set. And then I've met them at the card show and just made a transaction that way. Just kind of have them bring it to the show rather than look for them. And that kind of works too.
I was just kind of summarizing. I was thinking,
Yeah,
you know, certainly the local card shop is important to the hobby. And I think folks of our generation, older, maybe a few years younger, yeah, played an instrumental role in your collecting journey.
I think so.
Now coupled with the internet, there's card shops they're competing with those online sales, but nothing replaces that in-person interaction and getting that knowledge firsthand, because you're going to remember it probably a little bit more vividly if you hear the words and you see the card. And
Yeah,
so yeah, I agree with you. We need them. Need to keep the
yeah.
card shops around. They provide a good service, and certainly they're a part of the hobby that should not be like eliminated or replaced with the internet.
It ties back in that nostalgia thing. I mean, it gives people a certain feeling of you walk into a show or walk into a card shop, and for me and you're like, oh wow, look at that. That's cool. I haven't seen that in a while. And what is this? This is kind of new. But these dealers have to make money as well. So I don't
Yeah,
think
you
one
might have to pay a little bit more
yeah one
because they've
can't
got
get
their
upset.
overhead, and that's just
Yeah,
part of the game.
yeah, one can't get upset, whip their phone out like you see the younger generation do, and go, well, this sold for 40. Why is it 50? You know, put the dealer
Exactly.
on the spot.
And they're kids, and kids might not understand the big like business picture of that.
Correct. Yeah. So
Well,
yeah,
good
it's
topic, man. Let's
yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's good.
let's get into this whole like football thing. It's football season, like you said. Let's get into the whole idea of like suffering through like a horrible QB and with your team, and because as a Cowboys fan, I've had a few of those. How about you?
Well, I'm interested to see what yours is because I think I know who yours may be. But yeah, why don't you kick this off because I can't
Me,
wait.
me who grew up watching Roger Staubach, and then to see him retire and be replaced by Danny White, and then
Yep.
after he left, Gary Hogaboom, but and then Troy Aikman, and then after Troy Aikman retired due to injuries, so, his career was shortened. We had to go with old Quincy Carter here.
Quincy Carter.
QR.
Is it the Alabama great?
Georgia. Yeah,
Oh,
he
Georgia. That's right.
graduated from Georgia. This
That's
is
right.
like a second year card of his. But yeah, and my thoughts were like, if you go through like at least 16 games, it's not fair to judge a quarterback over like, 4 games in a season and go,
Yeah.
oh, worst quarterback ever. But yeah, to sit there and say, like, man, this guy, like, for collectors, do they keep collecting if that's like the helmsman of their team, or do they look at it and just go, just throw in the towel. I'm not going to collect this QB because they're not winning.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tricky situation because he's He's an up and coming collegiate star, obviously, gets drafted highly. And you're like,
Hmm.
oh, this guy's gonna be great. And then he just fizzles into your nickel box of cards.
Yeah, you
As,
go from the like second round NFL pick to
yeah,
next thing you know, you're like in an arena football league and you're playing
yeah,
down Corpus Christi in 2016. And like you said, quarter dime nickel box
yeah,
cards of value. But also as a fan, just having to kind of like suffer through that as well. You're just like, you want your franchise to win. You support your team, and then you're like, and then as a collector, you want those positive memories, and then you look back and you're like, remember that era.
yeah.
Remember
Remember
that,
that
Bill
guy?
Parcells.
Yeah,
Thanks. Thanks, owner Jerry Jones and your influence.
yeah.
I,
Well, I've got one where as the viewers know, I grew up in Houston, so Houston fan. The Oilers were my team forever, and then somebody named Bud Adams, who was part of the inner circle of billionaires back in the day in oil and gas, decided to take the team out of Houston. Said, "Fine, you're not going to build us a new stadium. We don't want the Astrodome anymore. I'm moving to Tennessee." That hurt a lot of that killed a lot of people in Houston. Their hearts were broken, and so I went a few years without a team. Moved to Dallas, became a big Cowboys fan. I'm like, all right, this is my team now. And the Cowboys still root for the Cowboys. But in 2002, the Texans got a franchise, and that was their first year back in Houston. For their number one pick, they drafted a quarterback named David Carr from Fresno State,
yeah.
whose brother is Derek Carr, who just retired from the Raiders. But David Carr is supposed to be the answer for everything, and it was, he played from 2002 to 2006 with the Texans for their first few years of getting back in the league.
Hmm.
And it was, I mean, obviously I'd go back to Houston all the time. My dad still lived in Houston at the time when I lived in Dallas. I'd see all my buddies, would go to many games of the Texans. And the sentiment was after a couple of years, they realized David Carr was not the answer at QB. I think they went 4-12 in their first year inaugural season in 2002. Then they were 5-11, 7-9,
Do
two
you
and four.
think though that that was based on first off being a young franchise,
Yeah.
secondly not having much of an O line?
Well,
Like,
it's.
it
I'm
takes a
glad
while
you
to
said.
develop these guys. The
Yeah,
big
I'm glad you said
man.
that because I did some research into this. Once I started thinking about David Carr, he popped in my head right away when we talked about this. I'm like, oh god, those years were tough to watch. Could never get a pass off. Just I
He's
think
running for his life.
I mean, he had like 9 touchdowns and 15 interceptions as a rookie year, followed up with 9 touchdowns and 13. And I know you had
Didn't he have
Arian
like a
Foster.
record for like most sacks in a season or something like that till
He did.
recently?
He had 78. He was sacked 78 times in one season. And over the whole time he was with Houston, he was sacked. I had to write this down 249 times in 5 years. Now
That
I
takes
don't
a toll,
blame
man. That takes
I
a
don't
toll.
blame David Carr on that, but when you mentioned a quarterback that you had to suffer through and watch, and you were really just hoping, come on, just got to beat this team, and it never happens. I think of David Carr, unfortunately. So, but that's averaging 50 times a year to be sacked. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that he was smart and took off and went to the NFL Network, and I mean, he's a smart man.
Yeah, he's like, I've got my money, I'm out. I'm gonna
Yeah.
move on and do something else and not get slammed to the turf by
Well,
guys that weigh like 260 pounds or more.
yeah. Well, he actually went. I think he played with the Panthers after that. Because I remember the Matt Schaub years of the Texans as well, right after they got rid of Carr, and that was not even better.
Yeah, look, I went through the Hutchins and the Hutchinson years and the
Yeah.
Henson years and Vinny
Well,
Testaverde on
when
his last leg years. So
you think of a franchise, I think Matt Schaub was the best backup quarterback that's played in a long time, and all of a sudden he gets his chance to start. He goes from Atlanta to the Texans, and he just couldn't do it. I mean, he's got a great arm. He won some games, and he had good stats, but he just there's that thing that you can't define in a quarterback that leads your team to victory. Everybody gets around it. These
hmm
two guys did not have it, unfortunately. So
Geez.
Carr, I don't think was mostly his fault, though. I mean, like you said, the O line and some of the talent that they had to draw from and pull from. So we'll see.
Well, I'm curious to see what Card Blitz Nation here, what y'all are thinking. With
Yeah.
suffering through your quarterback of your team and those horrible years, and how did you get through it, and share your stories, with us on in the comments on this video, or reach out to us at info@blitzweekly.com. Share your stories. We're curious, know what you know,
Yeah.
and see how you feel. I was going to ask you, with tonight's big game, Packers Cowboys, and
Yes.
Mike making that return. Let's get to a little trivia and see what you're thinking.
Yeah. It's interesting they're really showcasing that Micah return to Dallas. I mean, that's all the highlights and that's all the advertisements and commercials.
Oh, he's gonna be on a mission
I mean,
to prove a point. I
I mean,
guarantee you that.
I'm not. Ooh, we'll see what happens. Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, and the Cowboys O line isn't the best at protecting QBs either these days.
Yeah, and
Uh,
not a mad defensive lineman,
exactly,
an angry man.
exactly. He's out to prove a point. But
Yeah.
let me ask you this: so, when was the last time the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Green Bay Packers defeated the Green Bay Packers in their home stadium?
Ooh.
Okay, so when was the last time that the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Green Bay Packers here in Dallas defeated those Packers? Was it A, the year 2004? Was it B, the year 2007? Was it C, the year 2017? Or was it the year 2022? Which year do you think it was? A, 2004, B,
Yeah,
2007, C, 2017, D, 2022, or 2022, like the kids say today.
I'm trying to go through my memory banks of some of the home games because there was some big battles that
Hmm?
happened, and they were at times during the season where it meant a lot in some of those home games.
And some playoff battles and stuff. So,
Yeah,
yeah, kind of curious. Which one do you think it is?
I'm gonna go with 2007.
And you are correct.
All right.
2007, Tony Romo,
Yeah.
309 yards passing, four TDs. Cowboys defeated the Packers 37 to 27 in that
Do
game.
we, what day was that? Was that a Sunday or was it a Monday night or
I think it was a Thursday night football game.
Thursday night? I remember some kind of special night where it meant something like a Monday night or Thursday night, and
Yeah, the Thursday night game, man. So
it
good job. You rocked it, dude.
good.
Well, I was gonna say on that
Well,
note, man, we better wrap it up. Thanks
yeah,
for watching. Patrick, we'll catch you on the next one, man.
yeah. You guys, thank you. We'll see you and have a great Sunday. See you,
All right.
Kelly.
See ya.